So we had a Geshmaka week discussing so many dinim of shiurin, Jolly Ranches, shiurin, chatzitzin, and we're in the middle of the discussion of the chatzitzin. So I'm not going to move so fast today because I want to make sure that whatever we did is going to be is klar, and Hazara should go klar Mitzvah Shabbos. So we're on the Vav Amud Beis. Yesterday we spoke out that I want to say over recap. Rabbi said one other thing. I was talking to Rabbi Newman, and we speak about this often. That when you learn, he said the greatest thing to do, the strongest thing to emphasize is that you're chazering over Shabbos. Chazer it out, like it's a kasha teretz. What's the Gemara right to? That way, when you do that, you think about it afterwards. You have the Gemara klar, as opposed to just reading the words, which you do it quickly, but sometimes you don't get the whole shock of Itario. So yes, right?
Learned that out loud.
Oh, gewaltig. Ramon this. So it's Shiloh. There's a group of Shiloh over there. So Rabbi says, yesterday we spoke about Chatzitzin. Chatzitzin are separations for Tefillah, for the mikvah. And we spoke out that it's Allah Moshe B'Sinai. So the Gemara asks, how can it be Allah Moshe B'Sinai? It's in the first pasuk, B'Sorei B'Mayim, there should be nothing that interposes between this flesh and the water. The Gemara then says, okay, you're right. So that's a real pasuk. However, the Allah Moshe B'Sinai is for you here. The Gemara says, that's also a pasuk. The extra S is always coming to add in something. As Yehuda pointed out, Rabbi Kiva and Shimon Amsuni, Yehuda yesterday pointed out. So the S is always coming to add on. So that's coming to add on here. That was Yehuda's Gavaldik Kash yesterday. So the Gemara then says that the halacha of Moshe B'Sinai is coming for the details of chatzitza. We know that chatzitza exists by here. Chatzitza exists on your body. But what are the details of it? And what is that? The halacha of Moshe B'Sinai, Rabbi we said there's three levels. Level number one is halacha of Moshe B'Sinai. That's ruba yomakbid. That you have a chatzitza on most of your body, and you're makbid on it. That is what's Aser Halacha Moshe B'Sinai, which has the level of a deraisa. That is Ruba Yomakbet. It's most of your body, and it bothers you. Okay, the second level we spoke out was a Rabbanan Dik Gzeira, that if you have it on a small part of your body, but it bothers you, or a large part of your body and doesn't bother you, so you have one condition, one out of the two conditions, that the Rabbanan said that's a Gzeiro, because we're worried you'll have most of it and you'll be makbid. The Gemara then asks a question. Okay, so why don't you make another gezerah? Make a gezerah on we have no conditions, where you have a little bit and you're not makbid at all, because maybe you'll have some and be makbid, or you'll have a lot and not be makbid. Again, make a gezerah where you don't have any conditions for any one of the two cases which you have one condition. The Gemara says, wait, those two cases are a gezerah d'Rabbanan. And you want to take it the level 3 and make a gzeira for a level 3 for a level 2, which is a gzeira for level 1. It's a gzeira. We don't make one level to another level. So we don't make one gzeira to another gzeira. I don't like to speak out because we like to stick to the pshat. I just have to say this because this is a geshmaka shtickle. I heard it and it said Thursday night we have a geshmaka board on the sugya. Geshmaka shaila. Rabbi Chanan asked a Gavaldik Kasha. He says, wait, how do you ever have a level, a Rabbanan Dik level? Listen to this place of Gavaldik. You cut up from the Kasha.
Everything's Rabbanan Kain Deraisa.
So listen to his chap. No, it's that's a good order. What you're saying. Now, why wouldn't that have it? Just because they're going to make it. But look what he said. He said that when you have a ruba that you're not makbid on, right? Most you're not makbid. That's called the rabban. That's the rabbanon. Yeah, Rabbi Yaakov, that's the rabbanon. Most you're not makbid on. He says, and then on the level under that, that's already too many gzeras. He said, wait, if you have a chatzitza most of your body and you're not makbid on it, what's the issue? It's the rabbanon. Yeah. Once the rabbanon say it's a problem, then anyone who has it is makbid. Oh no, I have issued the rabbanon. If you have a problem, if somebody has on the body roiv and they're not makbid, correct? Is it a problem? Roiv and not makbid.
No.
Roiv in your body.
Yeah.
Roiv I'm sorry. They're on the rabbanon level. On the rabbanon level. Yeah. On the rabbanon level. Yeah. On the rabbanon level. Is it a problem?
Yeah.
Now, so then, therefore, you have to be concerned if let's say someone's going to go to mikvah and right of their body is covered with dirt. That's a rabbanon problem. So now they have to be concerned, correct? So whenever most of their body is covered, all of a sudden now they're worried. I don't want this. Now I have an issue with rabbanon. So all of a sudden they're makbid on what they have on their body. Why are they makbid? Because there's an issue here. Because Rabbanan said you can't table like this.
It's like a groma. It's like a
Chaim,
groma
But you
hakoda.
have he's saying if you have roiv that you're not makbid, automatically becomes roiv that you're makbid on.
Api groma. I don't know.
Wait,
Api groma.
Okay, 1 second. I
because
don't
it's
get it.
zero.
You start
The
over. I
circle.
don't
Wait a
get it.
second.
Basically,
Right now,
Rabbanan
if you have a roiv that you're not
And you're not
makbid on,
makbid.
is there a problem?
Yes.
So then automatically, as soon as you get dirty, you're like, oh no, I have an issue with the Rabbanan. I don't want this on my body.
Unless you don't care about
Becomes
the
a
rabbanon.
derisa.
It becomes deraisa.
It's not Xera. Now
Yeah,
it's
but it only bothers you because you know.
It's a
one
mashava
second,
to
1
mashava.
second.
That's what it is.
1
Mashava
second.
to mashava.
So if someone's covered with dirt, right, on most of the body,
Doesn't bother him. Bothers her.
he's 1 second. Right now, he's like, oh no, I have a problem. I can't go to mikvah. All of a sudden, he's makbid on
No,
it.
he's not actually mock, but
He's makbid.
This-
No, it's not makbid.
This was Rabbi Chanan's question. If you have it and you know that you have an issue now, why do you have an issue? Because Rabbanan said you can't go to mikvah like this. Oh no, I have an issue. I don't want this. So then all of a sudden, you don't want this on your body anymore. You don't want it on your body because Rabbanan said you have an issue. So also wait, now you're makbid. And you might be, you want to get it off.
what was the
This
difference between Kpeda?
Not the actual dirt that
Am I been on the Allah or am I been on the dirt?
So Rabbi Chaim gives one teretz, and Rabbi Chanan says the Pasha teretz that Eilam is Omim Mechapen too. If it bothers you because of the halacha, does it bother you because you're dirty? No. It bothers you because halacha.
Those things don't bother us because it's usually because hello.
There's halacha. He says if you're bothered because of the halacha, that's not called makbid. Makbid means it'll bother you without the halacha here. You're right. Now that there's halacha, you're makbid. But really, without the halacha, you won't be makbid on. Okay, back to pshat.
what's Rav Chaim's teretz?
I don't know Rav Chaim's teretz. I don't know his teretz. But this is like a famous geschmack akasha Rav Chaim asked. Okay.
Rav Chaim, it's your job next week.
I'll answer after the share. Everyone get mad.
That's my
Okay, Rabbi say, I just had to speak it out. I thought it was a geschmack. I thought it was a geschmack. You appreciate this. Okay, so yesterday we saw. Now we're up to mechitzin. Yeah, mechitzin.
Yeah.
Oilam is ready. Baruch we're zeicha to have come out the whole oilam over here. And Yehuda's about with us.
Schmack. The
gonna be
table's
next-
Boy
full.
say just
Something
yeah.
special.
Everybody just feel it.
Like the base of
Appreciate
Mikdash,
it.
also in this room.
Yeah, I'm the.
Unbelievable.
Everybody say appreciate what's going on here. Says the Gemara mechitzin. What are mechitzin? How do you know? What are the mechitzin that we're talking about? Right. One of mechitzin that Allah Moshe Sinai. We're getting back to. Remember, this is the third category of what's Allah Moshe Sinai. That's mechitzin is a third category. Says the Gemara. What is that third? What is mechitzin? That's Allah Moshe Sinai. So the Gemara says Hada Amaron. That we said that a sukkah has to be 10 tvachim tall. Hada Amaron. That we said that a sukkah has to be 10 tvachim tall. Remember, Rabbi Huda said. Remember earlier that Rabbi Huda learned that a sukkah has to be 10 tvachim tall from Allah Moshe Sinai. That was right at the beginning of the week. That was the hanicha, the first thing we did. That according to Rabbi Huda, remember the tvachim came out the wrong cheshbon and 11.5 space. And Huda says, okay, Hadamar, this that we said, period. Hadamar, this we said a sukkah should be 10 tvachim tall. Oh, Gavaldik. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Right, honey on. So now the Gemara says wait. Period. Now the Gemara says wait. Hanicha le Rabbi Yehuda. That's only good according to Rabbi Yehuda. You ready? Who learns the height from the halacha Moshe Sinai, right? Rabbi Yehuda learns the height from the sukkah of halacha Moshe Sinai, like we just said. Elul Rab Meir, according to Rab Meir, and I wrote on the side, who learns the height from the Kruvim. The Eilim will remember at the beginning of the week, Rab Meir was able to learn from the Kruvim. Rabbi Yehuda had an issue, but Rab Meir could learn from the Kruvim. Elul Rab Meir, but according to Rab Meir, who learns the height from the Kruvim.
What about going to the Mandam learns it from the Shulchan and the Tachtel?
My Ika Lameimar.
From the around the Aron, the rim around the Aron.
Yeah, we said that wasn't actually part of it. That's
It
just
was
that-
Mitachteha. We said
the day
Mitachteha. We
was.
said it works with the Mandam says Mitachteha. The Taka works, not at the Kruvim.
The taktel was the kli.
Right, the Kli. That Mandam also holds one. That's a different one. That's the first thing.
You're saying Gavaldik. Wow, there was a man the Omar that held that
Good,
that
all right.
works, and this is only Gavaldik. Ramo stark, Ramo Gavaldik.
This is Pasha Pshat. I mean,
Okay, so the Gemara now says El Rameir Michael Rameir. According to Rameir, who learns the height of the Kruvim learns the height of the sukkah from the Kruvim. Michael Rameir. What are you going to say? Which means that we're on the side. What do we learn from the halacha Moshe Sinai? Which halachas of mechitzas do we learn? Which halachas and mechitzas do we learn? Question mark. Michael Amemar is a question mark. What do we learn from the halacha of Moshe Sinai? Michael Amemar, what are you going to say? What do we learn from the halacha of Moshe Sinai? My answer is, Ki asay hilchasa, the halacha of Moshe Sinai comes to teach us the good. You know what good means? Good is good asik
And Garachas.
and good aches. There's two types of good. Good is where you can shoot the walls up or shoot the walls down. Exactly. That's good. V'lavod. Lavod, we know. Lavod is either 3 or 4 tvachim. 3 or 4 tvachim. Lavod that can seal up a hole of 3 or 4 tvachim. V'daifan akuma. Daifan akuma connects, bends a wall to connect with schach on the top. That's daifan akuma. So now we have. So this is what you can learn from the halacha of Moshe Sinai. These are other halachas. Now we'll see there are even more that I learned. But so we have shiurin. Let's just recap. Shiurin halacha of Moshe Sinai. Remember all the measurements, whether how much Yechayev and Yom Kippur, how much the Gregoris, the Gregoris, the dates, the etzem, the tumah. Those are that's right. The remind of the kli. Then we had that's what we know halacha Moshe Sinai for shiurin. Then for chatzitza we know that ruba yumakbit. That's what we learned. And now we conclude that from mechitzah we know the height of the sukkah, or in addition we know also Berasik, Lavud, and Deifan Akuma. We'll even see some more right now.
Chatzitza is also, by the way, the second one. Not mock, but it's fine. It's not
right. Yeah, exactly. That the only thing you're chayav on is a rubei mak, but nothing else. Now the Gemara by side.
Just repeat quickly. When it's the mechitzin hadamar, what was that?
Mechitza hadamar, and this that we just said that a sukkah has to be 10 tvachim tall.
I mean, what's the question we're asking?
Mechitza, and what do we said the mechitza in halacha Moshe Sinai. So now we're starting the topic of mechitza. And what do we learn from halacha Moshe Sinai regarding laws of mechitza?
So the mechitzas that have to be the fat that have to be 10 tvachim are halacha Moshe.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
We're saying that.
Yeah. That's what we learn. But that will only work according to Rabbi Yehuda, right? who doesn't have a source for the height of a sukkah. So he needs to know that a sukkah is 10 tvachim tall. The mayor learned from the Kruvim. So what other halachas would our mayor learn? That's halacha Moshe Sinai. I'm going to answer these 3 halachas. We're only going to start in the beginning of the next Gemara because it's like one long piece. But I want to just make a start in it, and we'll introduce the idea. These are famous Gemaras, though. We have very famous Gemaras, and this is mamash the halacha l'maisa. Tana Rabbanan. Again, so that's it. Tana Rabbanan. Now we're going to discuss how many walls a sukkah has to have. This is mamash it. Tana Rabbanan learn. Here's the Tanakama, the Rabbanan. Shtayim kil chasan. You need to have 2 walls with a proper length. Shtayim kil chasan. 2 walls with a proper length, and that we know by now is 7 tvachim, 7 by 7. Shlishish, your 3rd wall, afilu tefach, can even be a tefach. Your 3rd wall can be a very, very small wall, even a tefach. Rabbi Shimon says, shalish kil chasan. You need to have 3 proper walls, urvius afilu tefach, and your vius can even be a tefach. So 3, either it's 2 and a bit like the Tanakama, or it is like Rabbi Shimon says 3 and a little bit. What are they arguing about? So Rabbi said before we go on, I want to speak out. This is a famous thing that comes up very often in Shas, and even though you can learn it many times, they're confusing terms and it's hard to remember. So but they're not complicated, just confusing to remember what is what. There's something in Shas called, let's say you have a pasuk. There's something called Yesh Aim LeMesiris and Yesh Aim LeMikra. When I was Mesifta, like it's a hard thing to grasp. What's the Yesh Aim LeMikra, Yesh Aim LeMesiris? This is what it is. When you have a word that if you read it in its written form, it will be read one way. But we have a tradition, we have a Mesaira that you read it differently. Kriyaksiv. How you read it and how you would read it if you just look at the Chumash, but then we read it differently because you have a Mesaira that you read it differently. Example, what we're going to discuss is that it says in the Torah the word besukais without a vav. Now, if you were to read besukais, means plural, many sukkais, right? If you were to read it without a vav, how would you? If you see in the Torah, if I show you in the Sefer Torah, it says beis samach kaf saf sukas, right? In its written form, that's called the yesh aim lemesiris is a written form. How would you read it in its written form? Without a vav, how would you pronounce it? Sukas. Sukas is Lashon Yachid, one. But if I tell you, how do you pronounce it when the Baal Kari reads it? How does he read it? Besukais. Besukais means plural, two. Yeah? So again, Yesh. So again, what is Yesh Im L'Mesaris? Yesh Im L'Mesaris means how you pronounce it in its written form. Doesn't mean that's how we actually pronounce it. It means if you were to look at the Torah, this is how you would read it. If you didn't know anything else.
Sounds like it's like the opposite.
Yeah. Ironically, that's why it's confusing. Because that's mamish the confusion here. Because Yesh Im L'Mesaris means in its written form. And then I'm telling you that Yesh Im L'Mikra means the Messiah, how you pronounce it. Right. It's confusing. Right? So that's why. So I want to repeat it again. It should be clear. Yesh Im L'Mesaris means how you read it in its written form. It means if you were to look at the Sefer Torah and you don't see a vav, you would say Besukas. However, Yesh Im L'Mikra, this is a little helpful. Mikra, how you read it. Mikra means that you how you pronounce it with the Messiah that you have. Like, what do we do? So the Baal Kari gets up there and he says Besukais. That's because we have we know that this is how you pronounce it. So how is it gonna have effect? How is it gonna have a nafkamina in our Gemara? Because if you read it, it says in the Torah 3 times besukais, right? So if you learn it with a vav, right? That means every time if you read it besukais, what is besukais? Yishem l'mikra, yishem l'masayos. Wait a second, kavaldik. If you read, one second. If I say besukais, is that called mikra or yishem l'mikra, yishem l'masayos?
Mikra.
Mikra. That's how you pronounce it. If I say besukas, that's yishem l'masayos. The easiest, the way just I'm saying this, the easiest terminology is yishem l'masayos means how you read its written form. Yishem l'mikra, how we actually pronounce it.
Misaris is written.
Misaris is written and mikra is read. That's what you have to know. Misaris means how it's written and how it's read. So we'll just do 2 lines, and we'll need the Mishnah next week. Start from here, but I just want to read it because at least we'll have a little familiarity with it when we start the sugya next week. But what are they arguing about? Rabbanan. Remember the Rabbanan hold that you need 2 and a bit, right? 2 and a bit. So how many walls Rabbanan really need in total? 3 walls. 3 walls. But one of them can be small. Okay, but at least they need 3. Gavaldik. So Rabbanan Sabri, Rabbanan hold Yesh Eim L'Mesayres. We focus on the way it's written. So then it
should be 3 full walls.
Then it should be 4, right?
3. I thought the way it's written is soup.
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Just 1 minute. Wait. Don't write anything in. The Gemara will explain it. Rabbi Shimon holds Yesh Eim L'Mikra. We focus on the way it's pronounced. It's read. It's the way it's pronounced. Okay, good. Now look over here. The next week I'm going to begin again from the Gemara because it's one long shtickle, but it's good that we should be familiar. Now look at this. Now we explain it. Rabbanan Sabri, Rabbanan hold Yesh Eim L'Mesaris. We focus on its written form. Now look at this. It says Besukas, 1. That's 1. You can write a 1 on top of Sukas because that's 1 wall. Besukas, that's also the way it's written. And the 3rd time it appears in the Torah, it says it with a vav. Besukais, that's 2.
4.
So that's 4 total, right? Sukas is 1. Sukas is 1. Sukais is 2. Harekan Arba. That's a total of 4 walls. Now look at this. Dal, subtract, chad. Chad, 1 wall, or 1 word. One basukas. Take away 1 basukas, lugufei. Just to teach us the concept of a sukkah. The Torah is telling you about a sukkah. It's not, before it tells you how many walls, it's got to tell you the concept. So 1 is for the concept, correct? You have to know that you're building a sukkah. So dal, subtract the 1 from the 4, 1 word, chan legufei. For the gufei is for the concept itself. That means for the sukkah itself, the concept. Comma, I put a comma there. Pasha lehu tlasa. We remain pasha lehu. We remain tlasa with 3, right? With 3 because you have sukas and then the double lashon sukkais, so 3 walls. You ready? So you have shtayim kel chasad. You have 2 proper walls. Look at this. And we have Allah Chalamaysh, we see that comes the Gerasa, and it reduces the Shlishis, the 3rd wall, it reduces its size.
This is another halakha.
Yeah. V'ukmasa, no. No, nothing at all. No missing vav, no nothing. We have a locha mishinai v'ukmosa
What's normally
atafach.
nixing for the wall?
The one that you nix to the wall, I want to say, is the first word that appears.
So
Sukas.
without the
vav. So we knocked off one. Now we're left with one word sukas, one wall. Sukkah is 2 walls, 3 walls. So we know you have to have 3. 2 proper ones. How come the third you don't need to do a proper wall? Because you have a lochal mishmesina that says make it smaller, a tafach. So I'm stopping over here though because it's the middle. We're up there, but just we really need that with next week. We're going over. But I didn't want to come next week without not having these concepts down. Yesh aim again. Yesh aim the Messiah means in its written form. How you pronounce it as it's written. Yesh aim the Mikra is how we actually pronounce, how you read it. Kabbaldic.